Hi there. Right, have you ever thought of owning a Jag? Do you think it's important? Do you think you could possibly have one? Or do you think they're just a pile of crap? Well, I'm here to tell you they're not. You remember the E-Type? And the XJS? Very popular cars. And then we have basically the bread and butter, which was the XJ. And the XJ went basically through most of Jag. Well, it's still going now. The other two cars have ceased to exist, but the XJ doesn't seem to want to quit. Here we have the XJ40. I'm not a big fan of the lights look, but I did like the dashboard which they did with the electrics on it. The problem is, with the XJ300 it had the same interior. And then you come to the XJ308, and that's the one I want to talk about. That's my baby. My first love affair started with the equaliser. That's what I thought was so cool with the Jaguar. And then something come along that kind of ruined it. Arthur Daly came along and he kind of made the Jaguar look like something that wasn't quite that cool. But that's all right. I understand that it was a product of its time. But then we got Underworld. An Underworld, yeah. No, Kate Beckinsale driving a Jag. Yeah, I know it's a bit blurred, but yeah, that's a Jag, and it's an XJ Jag. Just watch this for a few moments. This is what reminded me what I loved about Jags, and then that's why I went back into them. Simple as that. Yes, I know that was boring. Let me carry on now. Alright, there's a few things I need to tell you that I forgot to mention in the video, and if I reiterate, that's only because my editing isn't very good at the moment, because I'm having a problem with the PC. Headlining on the this is over the 308, but it basically goes back down to the 40, the XJ40, the XJ300, the XJ308s, and the XJ350 all have exactly the same problem. The headlining just comes down. I don't know why. I think it was something to do with, I don't know actually. It's just crap. And the Land Rovers and the Range Rovers exactly the same. Ford have at this point, when I'm talking about the 308 and the 300, had taken over. So the electrics work. So don't get me wrong, the electrics actually work. The thing you've got to bear in mind is well, that I probably forgot to mention, which I may do again, is the wheel bearings. The wheel bearings on the 308 are a nightmare. They always go, and they start making this horrible grinding sound like this. But when the weight's on it, it goes away. So you think, I've turned left, and the sound's gone away, so that must be fine. Well, no, the wheel bearing that's going is on the left. I've had one Jag where I've replaced 5 wheel bearings, and you'll think to yourself, 5? What car has 5 wheels? I replaced them all, and then I replaced the other one, and the wheel almost dropped off while I was driving it. And I am not kidding you. Right, I think there's 2 things that I forgot to mention. Anything else? Light bulbs on the centre console. Each button has its own individual bulb, and each bulb is about £8. Now, I've got a dealer, and I get the stuff off quite cheap. But do be warned, do check and make sure, if you can, just cover it up and make sure the dashboard lights are all working. Because if they're not, it's going to cost you a fortune, basically. Right, now I think we need to get into the video. Best to be close to the camera, isn't it? Let me give you an introduction to an old XJ308. Now, this isn't going to be a talk about me telling you how to drive it, or how nice it is to drive. What I am going to be telling you is all the things that go wrong on them. Now, it's not to say they're a problematic car. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a lot of things to go wrong on this car. So, if you can just listen to me, I might actually save you a fortune. I've had 10 of these cars, and I'll go through the history of them as we go through the review. But, as I said, I'm here to point out the problems with these cars, so hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I made in the past. And believe me, I've made a lot. So, let's crack on, shall we? Right, this is the XJ308.
the V8 model of the XJ back in the past. This car, my particular one, is 20 years old. I've had the XJ300s and I would say they're a million times more reliable, but it's not to say these cars aren't reliable. You just have to understand it's a £50,000 car and it's 20 years old. This is not a Honda Civic, alright? But I want to tell you what to look out for. So, other than my hair getting in my face, I'm going to tell you all the things. This isn't a driver's review. I'm not going to go around and drive it and tell you how nice it is to drive, because it's lovely, but that doesn't help you buy one, does it? So, let's crack on. Timing chains. Plastic tensioners, snap. Now, a car of this age and this mileage, you probably don't have anything to worry about. Ball wear, because they had that nickel cell lining, by a car of this age, if there's still one going around, with that I'd be really surprised. It was only the sulphur in the petrol which corroded. But to be fair to it, you probably wouldn't have to worry about it now. And as I said, if it's still going around, then the sulphur in the petrol has changed these days, so it's not going to be an issue. Also, cooling system on these cars, it's all plastic. The cooling system on this car, I don't know if you can see this, is all plastic. And they tend to leak. I don't think in all of my recent life I had one that doesn't. They all leak. When you're buying one, check the coolant has been up to date, because if you boil these ones up, they have weak head gaskets. Also, check the cap. My cap seems to be particularly tight today for some reason, but check it. If it looks milky, that means you've got a head gasket on the way out, and I would suggest you walk away from it. What else can I say on them? Let's take you down to the front. As you can see there, there's a slight bit of rust coming through there. They always go on the sills at the front. Okay, so look out for that. They don't tend to go on the front wheel arch. Wheel arch is quite nice. Should have given a wash really, but I didn't feel like it today. Yeah, so look at the wheel arch. Usually at the front you're fine, but look for the sill at the front there. I've left the mud flaps on there because it does just stop a lot of debris flicking all over the back. And as you can see, mine started to just go slightly on the driver's door. This is where they all go. It's the rear wheel arch. They all go on the rear wheel arch. This has been done more times than I can remember. The sun's, I'm afraid, is not doing it justice, but you can see this has been done 2 times before, and it's already starting to go again. So you do have to be careful with that. Usually that's the worst part. Just around here is the part they rot the worst. Another part on the car which people fail to realise or fail to comment on is here. This here, just under here, when the rear lights running across the back to the other side of the rear light, it basically rots from the inside out. There's nothing behind there. What you'll get is like veins appearing just around here and here, and you wonder what that is, because there's no reason that should wear, but it does wear, because basically behind there is nothing. So it gets flicked up. The only thing under there is the petrol tank, so it just flicks it all up. So be mindful. Do you want to talk about the fun stuff about which makes this particular one unique? Do you think we'll try? Come on then, let's have a look. Well, darlings, as you can see, I will start her up for you. Get the key out of my flipping pocket. Right, darlings, if you can see, this is what you want the dashboard to look like, with no lights on it. This one has a steering column adjustment that is automatic, which I'll show you. in terms of this one, as I said, it's unique. It has a sat nav, which I will show you. And I'll enter it. I'm trying anyway. Okay, we're going to enter that and see what happens. Bedford, that's where I live. Go for that. Search. Doesn't seem to want to search. Jesus Christ. Well, anyway, as you can see, it's a fiddly process. It's not a touch screen, it's really old, and it's only got a DVD player in the boot, which basically has got the information from 20 years ago, so that's fine. It also has something a little bit extra, which not a lot of them do, but I'm going to show you. Still has the original phone, the Motorola phone, which, if you can see here on the dashboard, has a numerical keypad. Now the phone, unfortunately, the screen has basically died, but it doesn't really matter because it still works and I can still make a phone call on it. Up here, you see this? That hears you. It's hands-free, the system. Down here, all the controls you need are on here, and on this side you have your cruise control. Now this car also has another unique one on it, which I will show you for a sovereign. It has the black leather, which at the time was a rarity, and I'm also going to show you something else. See that? An Alpine upgraded stereo system, and believe it or not, I'm going to walk around the back. The car, don't think you're going to see that like that. The car has a subwoofer at the back, which you can just about see there. Hopefully the camera's getting that. So yeah, she's quite a unique little one. In terms of performance, she's quick.